What's up, everybody? What it do? Bernie Mac, Bernard Castillo in the house, all the way from Germany. That's crazy. You're probably gonna be the farthest person I interview. I was gonna fly you over here, but the government told me no. Sorry about that. I wanted you right here in the couch with me. Everybody
Try
here,
to
everybody here in San Diego, Chula Vista misses you. You know that. But sorry about that, man.
I try to pull some strings too. It didn't happen.
Nothing. You're in the
They
military,
said
bro. What the
they said
heck?
I'm not important enough,
You're in the military. You should be like, hey, you know what? I served this country. Let me go.
right? Let me go back to my country.
Oh,
They're like,
please.
nah. They're like, nah.
uh yeah, I was gonna quickly mention how oh well, welcome to Special Unique People. This is my little interview channel where I interview people and we have fun with it. It's
Absolutely.
it's in the Mingo Mania channel name, but it's the little like sub of Mingo Mania, and it's called Special Unique People. So welcome. I did call you Bernie Mac. I've always called you Bernie Mac, just for me, just because I love Bernie Mac. He's a
Yes.
legend. Rest in peace, of
Hmm.
course. He's a legend that I've always loved. And he's probably the one of the funniest people I've ever seen. And so I always called you Bernie Mac. I'm sure other people call you that too. It's a cool name to have, right?
That's actually you actually bestowed that name upon me.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you knew that or not,
I
but no
wasn't
one had ever
sure.
called. Yeah, nobody had called me Bernie Mac before until you started calling me that. As a matter of fact, no one had really ever called me Bernie until you said Bernie Mac, and it kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Ever since, all my close friends have started calling me Bernie.
Yeah, I didn't want to be the one to say. I think I started it, but because I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
But I,
yeah,
I I was like, I know I started calling him that. I'm not sure if anybody else did that too.
hmm, yeah.
But it's such a cool name to have. It's one of the best people that has been on Earth for sure. So I love
Agreed.
calling you Bernie Mac. I know you have other nicknames like the Soccer Flash. Not so much
That's
anymore,
an old,
right?
yeah. That's a fading name. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Though the reason you got that name was because you played soccer and you were super super fast, fastest
Yeah,
person in the team, fastest person on against other people. It was funny because sometimes they would take you, but you would still catch up to them with your speed. And then I liked your other one that you came up with was the yellow flash. What was it? It was
I would
like
say it was the Yellow Flash of Chula Vista. I think that's what it was.
it was something like that coming from like
Yeah,
Naruto with
yeah. I think yeah, the
Naruto's
Yellow Flash of
father.
yeah, the Yellow Flash of Konoha. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I love that one. I love that one. That one's cute. Nevertheless, all right, let's get it started. All right, here's the first question. You ready? It's gonna be a
I'm
tough
ready.
one.
Yeah.
Okay. If you have a cold hot pocket, is it just called a pocket?
I mean, it all depends on the perspective, right? Are you really hungry? Then it doesn't matter. It's still a hot pocket. But I
Yes, but it's
mean, hey,
cold.
this is
Cold.
coming. This is coming. This is coming from somebody in the military. You got to remember, I've been in some tough places food wise.
Yeah. I
Not
don't
so
know.
much recently, but
I think I think it is still called a hot pocket, but that's weird. It's cold.
I mean, well, if we're getting specific, I mean that's the brand name, right? So if
Hot
at the
pocket.
end of the yeah, at the end of the day, it's still a hot pocket. Now,
Yeah,
is
exactly.
it a hot pocket? Then I'd say no.
All right, my second question's a little. I pretty much asked everybody this question, but what's your favorite memory with me?
With you,
Yeah.
man, we have a lot, and honestly, it's been a long time since we hung out. But if I had to say one, it would be um it'd probably be the time that I ended up visiting back um to Chula Vista after I finished my military like occupational specialty school. Once I did that, then I went to vacation over there. I don't know if you remember. It was 2014, like August. No, I'm sorry, 2015, August,
Mhm.
like the August time frame. I ended up staying with you guys,
Yeah.
and and we were just like, get up and go out and go play soccer or go hang out with our other friends. That was one of my favorite moments, just because like until then, I don't think I had ever like spent that much time like with you, like
like
in
in my
regards to
house
like
and stuff.
every day in your
Hmm.
house. And I think your mom knows, like I really love her. She's like super awesome, and your dad's super chill and just the sweetest. You have the sweetest parents, and your mom's just hilarious. She says the nicest and awesomest things. Who also bestowed upon me another nickname, was this Colocho.
El
So
Colocho, she
yeah,
loved your curly hair. Unfortunately, you don't have it no more. I think you look good anyways, but your curly hair was super nice. My niece actually has curly hair too, so I remember growing up, you guys had the same hair. Do you remember that, Kuka?
yeah, I do. Yeah, I remember
Now
Kuka
her
and her
hair's
hair.
super long, super curly, super nice.
Mm.
But yeah, my mom did say to tell you hi. She always remembers you. You were my best friend. You're still my best friend. One of my best friends for sure. But I met you in middle school. I remember you're so chill always. You were just chilling, sitting down. I think like reading probably because you love
I
to
used to read a
read.
lot.
And
Yeah.
we just and I saw you. It kind of reminds me of the Naruto Sasuke moment where he sees like Naruto sitting down or something. I
Yeah,
saw you
alone.
sitting down, and eventually we just started playing soccer. And even though we were like a little bit of rivals, we hella got it going. We it was like an
Absolutely.
instant
Yeah.
friendship and stuff like that.
For sure.
Not like Sasuke and Naruto, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, it was one of those things that I had just moved back to the US. I
Yeah.
had spent the last 6 months in Mexico with my
Hmm.
dad. And so I basically didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
Because while I had been in Chula Vista on and off throughout my life, that was like early elementary, and so I didn't know anyone at the time.
Hmm.
It had been a long time, and so you for sure were one of the first people like I became close friends with,
Hmm.
eventually becoming my best friend. But at the time, yeah, you were one of the first for sure. And like always in that time, it was always soccer. Soccer was what ended up bringing the connections for me.
Shout out to Fernando. I'm pretty sure Fernando's gonna watch this. El Fernie, you remember Fernie? He always
Hey,
comments
Fernie,
on
hell
your
yeah, I
posts.
still talk to. Yeah, I
Yeah.
still talk to him.
And
I
shout
miss
out to
that guy.
Ivan. Hopefully he watches too. I mean, if it's you, there, I think those two, I always connect them with you. So shout out
Absolutely,
to
yeah,
both
those
of
are
them.
two of my really good friends. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So I know you have a total of three sisters. I want to say
Yes.
three in total. No brothers, right?
No brothers.
And I have four sisters, so it's kind of funny. But I know this is gonna be a little difficult, but I asked this to everybody. I think you've seen it. Can you rank your siblings for me?
Yeah, I mean, I actually do have an order, and it's like it's not even based off of like um who I like better. So it was just more of circumstances. Who I ended up having a deeper connection with, and it was just due to circumstance. And when that was my second oldest sister, because I have my oldest sister, who's about 6 years older than me. My second oldest sister is 4 years older than me, and then my little sister, who's 4 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
My the middle sister, the second oldest, she's the one I ended up developing the greatest bond with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then after that, my little sister, because she and I were very alike, and she's kind of like I see her as my like
Twin.
somebody who I guided, like kind of
Mm,
who I was like, I wanted to see her succeed. I wanted her to do like even better than what I
yeah.
did. And she like just seeing how she was, her attitude, et cetera. She was just, I knew she could make it. I knew she was gonna be, whatever she wanted to be, and
Thank
she's
you.
working on it. And then my oldest sister is the one that I mean, I love her, but we've not we haven't always got
We love.
along.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so I mean, a 6 year difference too, that doesn't really help too much.
Yeah, I agree.
But nevertheless, it was just like I said, a matter of circumstance, just how who I ended up living with or hanging out with most. And whatnot.
Yeah, and that's the smart answer. I think that's the pattern that everybody's following. The last two people I interviewed, they all pretty much said they pretty much said like the number one is the person they hanged out with the most.
Yeah,
And it makes sense. You're the one that they're like sometimes you're almost like your best friends or like a person to
Yeah,
talk
absolutely.
to, the first person to talk to or second person, you know. So that makes
Yeah,
sense to me. Hopefully they watch. I'm not sure if they will. I mean, if you post it, probably they will.
yeah.
They're
I'm
probably gonna
probably
message you
will.
about it. But hopefully they understand what's up, you know. All right. Did you here comes a question. What can you tell me the funniest drunk or any story that you have?
Yeah. So the first one that comes to mind is well, I actually have two, and I'll be kind of quick about it. That way, it
Okay.
doesn't take too much time. One of them is like a much earlier memory, like a lot long time ago, and this was 2014. I was in. I had just finished basic training. I was in what's called phase one of my actual like job training.
Uh-huh.
And for those who don't know, like I'm a medical lab tech, so that takes a whole year of training. Um, so I was there in San Antonio, and we finally got a little bit of freedom, and we went out to the Riverwalk. It's called the Riverwalk in downtown San Antonio. Started drinking, having a good time. Well, some people just don't know their limits, right? So a few of my buddies, they got pretty drunk, and it was like a few of them got lost. Like
Oh.
they got lost in downtown, right? And eventually we find them, and we go back to base, and we kind of had to hide them in the back in the trunk because there's so many of us.
Mhm,
And we had to call in a favor because really we weren't supposed to be drinking, but we
mhm,
were. So we got back, and what it is at the end of each day, when you're in that environment, there's bed checks. So they check, make sure everyone's there, and then you go to sleep. And obviously, no one's allowed to leave anywhere anymore. Sounds like prison, right? Yeah, I know. So the funny part was that my roommate, because it was two to a room, he was like so drunk, like he was just laughing for no reason, right before bed checks. And I'm like, get it together, man. Like the
Quick
our
question. You
platoon.
you weren't drunk at all. You were good.
No, yeah, I had just drink a little bit.
But you're the probably the one that was trying to take care of them and
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay. Okay, continue. I'm
yeah.
sorry about that.
Yeah, no, you're fine. So yeah, so the sergeants were about to come and do the bed checks. So they go through the floors, and everyone's supposed to be right outside their door, to,
Mhm.
so they can see you and check off that you're there. And this guy was just like laughing and laughing in his bed, sitting there, and I'm like, dude, like, what are you laughing at? And he was just laughing, and I'm like, get up, man! Like,
Dude, what
I
is
need
your
you outside of the
problem?
door. Yeah, like I need you outside the door. Like, I don't care if you're like half conscious, whatever, just stand there. Um, and then our buddies who were right across, hit my one of them. He was so drunk that he just like passed out in his bed, and we could not get him out. So here we are, right outside the door, missing one person. And here comes the sergeant, and it's like, all right, starts calling out names, and of course one's missing. He's like, his name was Fernando, and oh, no, his last name was Gonzalez. That was his first name. They go, where's Gonzalez? And I was like, he's taking a shit, sir. And he was like, oh really? He's like, all right, well just tell him to meet me out there. If he wasn't out here, we're gonna have some words. And I was just like, all right. So here we are, like, damn, we're gonna get caught. Like this dude's so drunk, and if they find out, like we're screwed. And so what ended up happening was we were like, you know what, this is it. Like, it is what it is. We are like, just don't go out there. And he didn't. Nothing happened. The sergeant just forgot, I guess, and we just got out of it. And it was just like, damn, like. But it was just funny because like we
Yeah,
all
'cause
thought we were so screwed. Like we were
that
just
was
like,
a great
damn,
story to be honest.
yeah,
It had suspense. It had
yeah,
and I
yeah.
can
And
only
then
imagine like being in your shoes. Like that's so scary. But
yeah,
talking about it now, it's so funny.
yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah, at the
But
time it was just like, damn.
you know, I don't drink at all. I don't drink any
Yeah,
alcohol. So usually I'm the one taking care of people if they do get drunk. And I
mhm,
know how bad it gets. Like when people are
yeah,
drunk, especially blacked out, like it's like worse than a baby, worse than like a little kid.
yeah,
Like it's
for
horrible.
sure.
I've had
Yeah,
I've had somebody in my car, like a group of friends, and I told one of them, "Hey, like if you need to throw up, just let me know. There's no problem. I'll
yeah,
get out." She was like, no, 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 I'm good, I'm good. Boom. Next thing you know, she throws up in my car. It's like,
Yeah,
ah,
yeah.
and then
Everybody, I think everybody has a story like that. I mean, even I have had somebody throw up in my car. Yeah,
and then
but my other, yeah, I
uh-huh.
was gonna say my
Go
other
ahead.
little story real quick was
Uh-huh.
recently went to Ibiza,
Uh-huh. Ibiza.
Spain, and we like we literally just landed, just dropped off our stuff at the Airbnb. Literally the first thing we leave the Airbnb on our way to Above and Beyond slash Armin van Buren set,
Mm-hmm.
and on the way there, the very first interaction I have, some dude comes up to me, "Hey man, you want some Molly or what?" And I'm just like, "Well, he's like, I got cocaine too," and I'm like, dude, like just like that, like come on, man, like I just got off the plane, like at
Yeah.
least let me have a beer before you ask. Like, and I've actually never done any drugs before, like
Uh-huh.
ever. A lot of people have had weed, and I think that's innocent, right? And I'm in one of those that believes that weed shouldn't really be legal.
Yeah.
And but even then, even that I have never done, and I just always, the same way probably you decided you never want to drink alcohol. Like for me, any drugs, it's just like, like I'm just not gonna get into that.
I think
I'll stick to alcohol here and
I think that happened to me too in Ibiza. In Ibiza.
there.
I
Yeah,
think not like right away, but I'm pretty sure that happened where I got asked if I wanted drugs right away, and I was like,
yeah.
no, thank you.
Like damn, they don't even let you warm up. They're just like straight up. It's like damn,
Yeah,
all
no,
right.
for real, dude. How was I gonna tell you? Oh, yeah, if your superior officer is watching, it's too late,
if he is
bro.
watching, if he is watching, I said no.
They should give you a medal for that, huh? Like you
Right?
saved the
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah. Sure.
All right, we'll move on. I know you're married. Shout out to your wife. I've never met her. Still haven't met her, which it's been
I know.
quite a while. But she's for sure gonna watch this. So here it is. Here's my question to you: Who is your celebrity crush?
It's funny you asked that because she just asked me like 2 days
Really?
ago. She's like, who's your celebrity crush? And I'm like, I actually don't know because there's plenty of actresses that I'm just like, damn, like. And I've always had the biggest crush on Gemma Arterton. I don't know if you know who she is. She
What did she come
plays
on?
so the movie that, like, right off the top of my head, she's been in quite a few things, but the one that like where I really really enjoyed that she played was the one of the recent Hansel and Gretel movies with it was actually with Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, I know who she is. Then.
Yeah, so she plays
Pretty old though.
yeah, well, she's, I mean,
I
I'm
remember
gonna
you
say
told me about that because I went to
yeah, I
watch
mean,
it. Uh,
yeah,
and
so
then I remember you telling me that you liked her.
yeah, I had like the biggest crush on her, and I mean, who doesn't like, find like Scarlett Johansson? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say Scarlett Joe, but which you kind of did. But the first one you went to was
Well,
somebody else.
yeah, so yeah, I'm the type of person that tries, like, I don't really like to do like go with what everyone else likes,
Mm,
you know.
yeah. Okay. So my
So
question
I
was,
try to I
if
try
you
to
had
pick
if you had the chance to kiss him, I asked this last week. Would you do it while your wife is there with you?
damn, like right in front of her.
Yeah. Like
I
let's.
mean, to be honest, I mean, I think I would, and I think she would understand. Like, she'd probably be mad, but she'd understand. Like after, like, I mean, come on, like I had my celebrity crush, like one
Hmm.
in a million
Hmm.
chances of that, and I was like, you gotta live life, man.
Yeah, I mean, like last week, my nephew-in-law, he said, "What are the chances of that?" So you kind of have to do it. The odds are so
Exactly,
against that, like,
slim.
come
Yeah,
on.
I
Um,
agree.
and then you told me that both of you are not very jealous types, so I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be that big of a deal. So
Nah, I'm sure she'd be a little upset, but she'd be like, I mean, it'd probably be funny to her after. Just like, I mean, really, like, yeah, can you believe it? I just kissed, so and so.
yeah, that's incredible. If you're watching, I don't forget what her name is, but Scarlett Joe or the person that Bernie said, yeah, hear me out.
Make it happen.
Make
Make
it
it happen.
happen. All right. Well, talking about Scarlett Joe, I was gonna ask you who's your favorite Avenger or MCU.
Uh, for sure, hands down, Tony Stark, Iron Man.
Iron Man. Yeah, you seem like the
Yeah, I'm
techie guy too.
yeah. So there's different aspects about Tony Stark as a character that really appeals to me, and that's first of all the tech. I'm a huge techie.
Yep.
So any advanced tech like that just is super awesome to me. And also he just his charisma and his like confidence, right? He's just so like God, like I know I'm a badass, and I like that. But obviously he has his faults, and you gotta acknowledge that too, right? You can't just acknowledge like the good things. And, he has his issues, and as his character develops, he starts to come around and whatnot. But I just really enjoy his story, and yeah, I already liked him at the very beginning, but the way they developed his character in the Marvel cinematic universe was I really enjoyed it, because you see him go from a selfish person who just enjoys being a rich guy, right? Dating all kinds of girls, to at the end, spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't watched these movies, he has a kid and his wife, and he really cares about his kid, and it's all about his kid. And I think that's something that everybody can relate to, because I think from basically, I don't know, because I don't have kids, but everyone just says like every time, like when you have a kid, your whole world changes. Like it's just all about them, and that's what I hear from everybody. So I'm just
Hmm.
like, that kind of proves it, in that sense.
Okay, sounds good. I when I first started watching it, I didn't like Iron Man so much, but eventually, like now, or even before, I still didn't like Iron Man, but I did like his character, especially how Robert Downey Jr. played him, and like
Yeah,
you said, his confidence. Like he's one of the funniest characters in the whole franchise, like the whole
absolutely.
MCU,
Mhm.
for sure, hands down. Like he's so funny. But as a hero, he's a B list hero for me. Actually for everybody.
Yeah,
But
yeah, he's
and they did make it like, oh, they did like kind of like make it seem like he had to be the hero of everybody, but there were other stronger heroes there. But
yeah,
nevertheless, I do agree with the arc. His arc did change a lot, and I did like that. That he went from selfish to putting everybody else before him. And it's funny because we talk about like Captain America and him kind of switch roles. Captain America starts
right.
being like the unselfish, and he never becomes selfish, but he pretty much puts the nation in front of him, going to World War
Yeah,
II. Till
hmm
then, the Sokovia Accord saying, you know what, like government is trying to control me. Nah, like I was a soldier, but now like I'm not gonna let the government control me. And it's kind of like Tony Stark was saying, no, like we should. It's they switch roles, and that's
yeah,
why they have civil war and stuff.
right.
But I think it's just funny. All
Yeah.
right, but moving on. I know you're into a lot of video games. I know that I want to do some video games in this channel as well. But what is your favorite video game? Although I think I know the answer to this. What is your favorite video game of all time?
All right. If you let's see, what's your guess?
Well, it has to be Assassin's Creed. But if I had to pick one, like which Assassin's Creed? Well, everybody is the best one is the Assassin's
Mhm.
Creed 2. It has to be. No.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty right. To be honest, between Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelation, which is
Uh-huh.
all about Ezio, I can't think of like one of them in like particular being like my favorite, but his art by I consider all three of those part of like two, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, like two, and that story, the Ezio story was just I mean, that's one of the most flawless
Have you
character development, and
have you been to Florence?
yes, I have, and I made it an absolute must to go to Florence, but not only Florence, but Monteriggioni, which is where his villa's at
Oh, okay. I
in the
didn't even go
game.
there. I should have thought
Which
about
is
that.
so yeah, so I went to the actual Monteriggioni, which is like a whole hour away from Florence,
Uh-huh.
and that was super cool because like obviously it's a little bit different from how they showed in the game, but the bulk of it is just like it because
Yeah.
the team actually went there, and they actually and the funny thing was, which I wasn't expecting when I went there, was their gift shop had Assassin's Creed merchandise.
Oh.
And I'm like, what? And I'm like, it makes sense,
You
right?
got
Because
some?
I ended up buying a little Monteriggioni like replica. Um, And but I didn't buy anything Assassin's Creed specific because it just seemed like the basics. So it wasn't like anything that was very like unique, you know. So
Yeah, I went to Florence and I came back and I was like, I'm gonna play Assassin's Creed 2, and I play and everything's there and I'm like, what the heck? That's crazy. It's kind of like the Grand
yeah,
Theft Auto
it's
series that
super cool.
they do that the same way, but it's super cool because Assassin's Creed is a kind of old game. The second one is pretty old, so it was
Yeah,
pretty
it's
neat to
very
see.
old, and the reason I tell people I love Assassin's Creed is not even really. But I mean, the bottom line is I love that series for its historical context.
Yeah,
I'm a history nerd. I'm a
yeah.
total history nerd. So I love, and obviously like not everything's like 100% facts, but they put a lot of stuff in there that's real, and it's just super cool. Like, I don't know, I just get really excited for it.
Yeah, the Leonardo da Vinci invention where you fly, that one's pretty cool. All right, but we'll move
Yeah,
on.
that
We'll
was
move
pretty
on
cool.
to ask you what show, show or sitcom would you want to be in? What movie and what video game would you want to be in? So three things. So what show and sitcom would you want to be part of, or be in it actually, not part of?
What show? What show? What show? I mean, is a anime count or?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I mean, because really, animes are like usually the only shows where I'm like, man, I wish I was in that world. I had to say for sure, it'd probably be Naruto. Like
Naruto.
that's just too cool. That's too cool. Like they just have really cool. I don't know. I just the jutsus to me, like in the battles and
You
that,
would be
and
in
that's
Uchiha in this case, right?
oh, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, that Sharingan. I'm like, yeah, I need it. Um,
Sharingan.
yeah, super cool. I was always obsessed. You know, Itachi is by far like my favorite anime character of all time. So
And Itachi, even though I kind of like the Chiha are at fault for almost everything that happens, the Itachi is probably, I want to say, the second hero of that story. What, like the main? I don't know if you can hear me, but Itachi is the like one of the main heroes of that whole anime.
he is. No, no, he is. I
Because
mean,
without
you could.
him, they would have been done. And he does, and he's so strong that he can defeat all these people. But he chooses another path. It's a very interesting arc that he has. Very underrated in my opinion. But he's definitely as close as Naruto to being the hero in my opinion.
Movie of all time is actually Sherlock Holmes: A Game of
Oh,
Shadows with Robert Downey Jr. I don't know that I would want to be in it though. I mean, because really, I mean that's just old back in the days.
yeah.
The
The
UK and
syphilis.
um. So yeah, I don't. Movie. What movie would I want to be in? I actually don't know, but I do know what video game I'd want to be in.
I know which one too.
Which one?
Well, I would say Assassin's
Nah,
Creed,
no,
Halo,
actually, it would not. Yeah, Halo.
and that's
I
what I
would.
was gonna ask you. Like the you prefer Assassin's Creed over Halo?
I
Uh,
would. I
huh?
would love to be a Spartan. Oh
Yeah,
man,
of
you have
course.
no idea. That'd be so epic.
You heard
Um,
that? I forgot his name. Oh, Elon Musk is gonna try to create the.
yeah, I saw that they were interacting on Twitter about making a warthog, and I'm like,
You're gonna buy that for sure, huh?
I'll buy it. I'm like, I don't care what it takes. Take my money.
You can be a little
But
slow.
yeah, I mean, movie wise, I honestly can't tell you to be honest. Probably really any movie where there's a lot of like futuristic tech, like because
Yeah.
like I said, if anything, like I would love to be in that like setting where I guess at the end of the day I'd probably say like one of the Star Wars movies because I would also love to be a Jedi. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, being a Jedi would be awesome for sure. Being a Marvel superhero would be awesome. There's so
Yeah.
many things, you know. Yeah. All right. We'll move on. Here's a little bit more serious questions to make you think. What would you do if your parents did not like your wife?
So, I mean, I've always and I thought about that before, I got married and whatnot. To me, it was like that'd be very difficult, right? I think everyone can acknowledge that it'd be very hard. But if you love that person that you got married to and that's who you want to build a family with, then the like for me at least, I would just I would just, be like, hey, it is what it is. I'll hang out with my family when I can by myself, and then I'll obviously be with my wife. And I think it's not ideal. Obviously you want your family and your wife to be able to hang out, etc. But I would just make it work, and just just make a wall, right? Just say this is my family. I'm gonna go hang out with them, here and there, and then obviously I'm with my wife. Because at the end of the day, yeah, and I'll say this: I would never cut off my family, but I would never like just say like choose my family over my wife. You get me? Because your wife, who your family is now.
Hmm.
You left your parents, and it was time for you to build your own life, and your wife is your new family. And if you have kids, and that is your family, that is who you that's who comes first.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I would do.
Okay. Sounds good. That's a great perspective about it. All right. Next question is, I really like this question. So let me see what you think. Do you believe in fate, or that we are creators of our own destinies because of free will?
I've pondered this a lot. I've pondered it a lot, and there's certain things that have happened in my life that honestly sometimes I'm like, I think like, I don't like, what are the odds like that this would have happened? And I'm like, I don't know that it's free will, but I think at the end of the day, I don't know the answer, so I think I just believe in kind of a little bit of both. I think that the main events of your life tend to end up being more kind of like fate, but that things can change on a smaller scale. That not like 100% isn't fate. Like I'd say maybe 25%, something like that, 50, and the other 50 is you making decisions and you going certain ways. But yeah, I think if I had never experienced certain events in life, that I probably would have just said like we make our own destiny, we make our own fate. But I don't know. I've seen some stuff that I'm just like, I don't know. There's got to be something out there determining what we do or what happens to us.
So this is a interesting question that I actually do want to respond a little bit. I know time is running out, but for example, not for example, but yeah, like even if you believe in God, like you still, like, okay, you're saying, oh, God has fate for you and stuff, that He has something for you, but at the same time, God gives you free will. So even then, like it's like, oh, it's
Right.
crazy. But
Yeah.
I
It's
think
very. It's a.
I think honestly, like now that I've been studying more about God and about, yeah, pretty much about God, is you're right. That's both, but it's still your choice. And the reason I'm saying this is the best thing you can do is give up all control of your life to God. Let God control your life. And if you do that, yes, you're letting God determine a lot of stuff for you, but you're also choosing to allow that to happen. Does that make sense? So it is your free will, because you
Yeah.
could just say no, like I want to do the way things my way, right? And things would still happen. There's still fate and stuff. You meet people and stuff like that, but you're still controlling more of it. But if you surrender control, in a way, it's weird. But if you surrender control, you're actually gaining more control in that perspective. Where I mean, that's how I see it. I mean, not
I
everybody's gonna
guess,
agree with me.
yeah. I guess I could see. I mean, I get what you're getting at.
Yeah,
I don't know if I necessarily agree or
yeah,
disagree.
no, and it's
But
a big concept too.
yeah. So, but like the one little thing I like to point out, is like I am a believer in like that certain doors open for you, whether that's from a higher power or not,
Yes, sir.
and then at that point, that the decision is yours whether you're actually gonna do something with it or not.
Yes, sir.
Because it's like somebody can hand you something, and then now it's up to you to do something with it. They're not gonna do the whole thing for you. Like,
Right, right.
that's not
It's
how it
it
works.
you. Yeah, exactly. Even then, I'd still always try to leave things to God. For example, I just applied to something, and I'm like, let it be God's will. If I get in, I get in. If I don't, all right, let's move on, because I always think that God has great things for me, and it has great things for everybody. So if you're watching, you know, all right. This is another cool question. Is a life exclusive to pleasure, meaning no suffering, worth living in?
Nope, I don't even have to think about that. because this isn't the first time someone I've talked about that or someone's asked me that. It's like, if life is just pleasure, then how do you know that it is just pleasure? If
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing on the opposite, if you don't know what suffering is, then how do you know what feels good? Like,
Mm-hmm.
if something doesn't feel bad, then you don't know what's different. If everything's good, then that's the normal. Like, now that's just the normal, and now there needs to be something more than that for it to be pleasure or something good. So you're setting a baseline by having just pleasure, good things happen. You don't have any other perspective, so it's not worth living if it's all the same. It's
Mm-hmm.
just not. I don't think it is.
Yeah, I that's 100% true. There's no argument against that, to be honest. But the other thing I want to add on, is that life without suffering means no gain, no strength,
Mhm.
no power, no gain from intelligence, none of that. No gain from caring of other people. Life without suffering is just not real. One, and two is just, and to me it's like zero. It doesn't like
Yeah.
nothing's
Yeah.
happening. Like you said,
No, I
if
agree.
you're
Yeah,
if you're gaining if you're gaining pleasure all the time, you don't know what bad is, right? But the other thing
exactly.
is, you could go, if you don't go through things, you can gain like things like strength, power, intelligence, love, all that stuff. And the way I always tell people is to look at it like when you go to the gym. What do? You lift weights to get stronger, And why do they get stronger? Because you're literally destroying that muscle so it can rebuild. So same
Yep.
thing with
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
suffering.
That's a perfect analogy for it. Yeah, I mean that's like the most obvious and to the point is like in the gym, you're gonna be sore and it's gonna hurt, but
Mhm.
that just means that you're building up your muscle.
No pain, no
And you're
gain.
right, yeah, 100%. Like if you don't suffer, then you won't develop.
Yeah,
You got to know adversity to get stronger.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, I feel like adversity and the negative things that happen to you throughout life is what ends up determining who you become and how you respond to that and how you go from there.
yeah. And one more thing I want to add. I'm not saying that, like, pain is nothing. No, pain is hard, and
Yeah,
people go
absolutely.
through a lot of stuff, and everybody does. Everybody deals with it a different way, but just know, everybody should know that pain is for a reason, and that we're not alone. That's why we have other humans here we can talk to. We have friends. You should never go through things alone. God says, talk to others. Obviously, God wants you to talk to God, but nevertheless, you have others. That's why it's so important to build relationships with other people. So, you
Oh,
know,
100%. I mean, human beings are social beings, and I don't care what anybody says. Like, unless you have a mental condition, which that's a thing.
mhm,
That and that's what a psychopath ends up being, is somebody who doesn't care for people, right?
mhm,
But a normal human being, like, we're social beings. Like, we need interaction, and if without it, like, you're gonna have issues.
and then therapy exists too. I know there's a stigma against therapy, but there's, just like physical therapy, just like
Oh
I'm
yeah.
rebuilding my ACL. So your brain needs to rebuild as well, and there's no problem with that. That's actually very good thing.
And I'm actually glad you brought that up. And I just like to plug in, like, even in the military, that used to be
Oh
such a stigma. I mean,
yeah,
and you're talking like way worse than what it is out in the normal world. And even now, even in the military now, that's changing big time. Everyone's just like, hey, you need, if you have if you need mental help, that's fine.
yeah,
Go. There's no problem.
yep.
So that's good to see.
Yep, I agree. Last question, and we'll wrap it up. If you had three wishes, what would you wish for? And you can't say more wishes.
Yeah, I figured you were gonna give me that condition. Three wishes. One would be instant teleportation, so I could just go
Ah,
wherever
that
I
was
want.
dope.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Two.
This is shallow, but I need unlimited money. Like, I need money to do stuff. I mean, it is what it is.
Three.
And the third one I think would probably be to not have to worry about my health. Because I think at the end of the day, those three things, and what ends up being in common with those three things, or why I picked those three things, is because Anybody that knows me loves, I love to travel. So if I could
Yeah.
travel and I can be healthy the whole time and I have the money to travel to do whatever I
And the
want in
way
the
to
places I go
travel.
to, like, yeah. And so, I'm like, to me, that's the greatest like life I could live, and if I could, if I could have those three things. So for sure,
Yeah,
yes.
those are great. I put you on the spot right there. It's hard to come up with three things right away. So don't. And then everybody's like, "Oh, you're so shallow."
Well,
um,
while I do agree that money doesn't buy happiness, it plays a big role in getting there into
and
happiness.
well, I don't necessarily agree, but in this world, it does open a lot of opportunities, and I think that's what you're trying to say.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, no one's ever gonna be happy with just money, but it
Hmm.
plays a big role because, unfortunately, and this is why I think that, and it's
Yeah,
because of the world we live in. Not necessarily because, or like me, it's not that I want everything in the world, but it's just I know the world we live in, and I know it requires
yeah,
money to achieve the things that I want to do. So
yeah.
that's where I come from on it.
All right, all the way from Germany, Bernie Mac. Thank you
I
so much for being
Yeah.
here. I really appreciate it. Thank you for wanting to be here. I usually ask on the Instagram or on Facebook if anybody wants to do it. And thank you so much for commenting because it was a blast. I had a lot of fun today. We learned a little bit about you, just a little bit, but you also have a lot of wisdom. That's why I asked you some different questions from other people that I like that you shared with us.
And I really appreciate you having me on your channel, and I'm sure your channel will do great things, and it's really cool that you're doing this because it's actually very interesting to see what people's perspectives are and their experiences, because everyone's different, everyone thinks differently, everyone has done different things, and I think if people ever kind of want to see, gain different perspectives, just by watching a video of anybody else being interviewed, you can kind of get some insight, if you have an open mind.
Yeah,
So no,
for
I,
sure.
I really appreciate it, and it was an honor. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me on your
Thank you so
show.
much, bro. I hope to see you soon. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna talk to you soon though, because we play Xbox all the
Oh yeah, yeah. We gotta hop on that Rocket League. So just let
time.
me know.
I had to re-download it. All right, whatever. All right, peace.